So ever since Toho dropped the news about World of Godzilla and the possibility of there being solo films for different monsters and such, I've kind of been brainstorming as to what some of those solo films might look like, might sound like, and might feel like. So I thought it'd be somewhat of an interesting idea to kind of discuss some of my favorite villainous kaiju from the Godzilla franchise and talk about how their specific solo movie would play out. So, you clicked on this video, you already know, I am talking about Hedorah. Now this isn't going to be a super in-depth video. Now, I'm going to be hitting like 4 different points throughout this video. What I'd like to see done with Hedorah's origins, the tone of this Hedorah movie, the finale of the possible movie, and the future of the character within World of Godzilla. But without further ado, let's just get started. When it comes to Hedorah's origins, he was essentially a giant, this is what could happen kind of a monster. But his design and presence were pretty dang awesome. So if Smoggy Boy were to ever get his own solo film, I'd like his origins to be a little bit updated. I mean, we can go from being a piece of radioactive sledge left on land after a Godzilla landfall, to being a mutated specimen that survives off of radioactive waste and then some. I think I like the Godzilla idea a little bit better, but of course not everything needs to be tied down to Godzilla himself, but I think that'd give Hedorah some extra kick when it comes to his character. Or we get a little bit weirder and maybe a waste consultant is working heavy machinery and gets sucked up by Hedorah, giving the monster his upright form and adding somewhat of a human genome to his chemical makeup. Tone. For the longest time, I always thought if Hedorah were to ever be remade or something similar, it should have a close focus on horror. Yeah, a Godzilla-based horror flick. How weird would that be? In such terms, I'd like the film to kind of start out as somewhat of like a B-movie creature feature, with Hedorah being slightly human-sized before making his way to a nuclear power plant and growing to large proportions or something like that. In the original Godzilla vs. Hedorah film, we've seen Hedorah go through multiple forms and do some really weird so I'd like to build upon that. Hedorah melted humans down to the bones, showed the blob-like abilities with very little weakness, so to have this near indestructible force of mutated nature really pulverize Japan with its sledgy body and abilities along with the body count no less, I think that'd be pretty cool. As for the finale, if Toho does go with the whole solo film per monster approach, and with Hedorah being the main villain, I think this should be strictly a Hedorah versus Japan kind of film. Much like Shin Gojira, I'd like to see Japan's best come to a conclusion and Scooby-Doo up a plan to contain Hedorah. Yes, contain, not destroy. Seeing as how Hedorah was fried to a cinder in the original film, I'd like to see his defeat this time as a temporary one. Maybe frying him down to a small state and placing him in this filtered, clean holding unit deep underground, only to have him reappear later on in one of the bigger films due to Godzilla's radioactive signal, or you know, just by accident. I'd like to see Hedorah become more of a major monster in this Godzilla world idea. Much as I love the normal greats like King Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and Mothra, I think World of Godzilla would be a really great place to flesh both Hedorah out and the underappreciated B-listed kaiju villains as well.
Future.
Hedorah being blob-like and based on pollution and radioactive waste also gives out possibilities for different forms. All new ones. It would be really cool to see Hedorah fight another monster that's not Godzilla and absorb said monster by either disintegrating him with his body or one of his abilities and taking on either a trait or another ability from that monster. Of course, no majorly loved monsters, maybe just like a brand new monster that Toho introduces in the movie or in a movie before this. Hedorah solely being the smog monster seems like somewhat of a missed opportunity, since chemical and radioactive waste have been shown in other films to kill, genetically alter abilities and appearances and such. Why not apply that more to Hedorah? Because Hedorah is somewhat of a wild card kind of a monster. I feel his original film, whilst also just being wacky, also left the door open for some major possibilities. Yes, Godzilla vs. Hedorah might not be the most popular Showa-era Godzilla film, but using Marvel as an example this time, Marvel took B-listed heroes that not many people really cared about. I mean, I understand there was definitely fans of like Iron Man and Captain America, but when you said Marvel, you thought, you know, Spider-Man or something else. I'm not talking about everybody in general. It's just, you know, when you said Marvel, you thought of somebody else. You didn't think of Captain America. You didn't think of Iron Man. You didn't think of Black Widow. Maybe. And Marvel turned those characters into cinematic icons. I feel the same could definitely be done with Hedorah, really flexing the weird and the strange, and the overall possibilities of what this little smog boy can do. Plus, I really just want some new Hedorah figures. Come on, Toho, I need more. Can we at least get a Final Wars Bandai Movie Monsters version of Hedorah? Please? Please? Hedorah is one of my favorite kaiju from the Showa era of Godzilla flicks, and I would really like to see him get another movie where he's actually a focal point and not just, you know, end up like he did in Final Wars with a super cool design and he's on screen for like 5 seconds. And I'd really like to see Toho handle other monsters like that as well. Of course, yes, gotta get the new Mothra, Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, all that, but I feel like lesser known kaiju like Hedorah and Titanosaurus and then some really deserve their own slice of the cake first. Or at least in between the more popular ones, you know what I mean? So in the comments section below, which kaiju villain would you like to see get a solo film? And why? What genre would you like the film to be really based in? Would you like it to be based in pure, utter sci-fi? Would you like it to be a suspense movie? Would you like it to be a horror movie? Would you like it to have a little bit of comedy thrown in there? Anything at all, any monster at all, any genre at all, comment down below and tell me. And please let me know if you enjoyed this video, because if you didn't, I just won't make any more. I just really wanted to make one for Hedorah specifically. I have been Just Rob, hope you enjoyed, and next week I am going to be talking about Desotroya. See you all then and there.